ask anyone in Washington about Ray LaHood, and the first response will be, everybody loves Ray. He is unique, not only because he is loved, respected, and even somewhat revered, but he is also known as friendly, honest, true blue, and fair. Ray survived 32 years inside that dangerous mudslinging beltway with not one blemish on his character or reputation. A good part of Ray's success is due to his dedicated and supportive, lovely wife, Kathy. The consensus in D.C. among his closest friends is that Ray would make a good president, but Kathy, a great First Lady. Now, the first line of Ray's obituary would probably read, Ray LaHood, the Secretary of Transportation under the Obama regime, I should say administration, who among many other great accomplishments turned the corner on distracted driving and convinced America of the disaster of talking and texting while driving. On our cell phones, it was dangerous. Sweeping the country with numerous regulations and laws, preventing hundreds of thousands so far, and in the future maybe millions of accidents, injuries, and human lives. But my purpose here tonight is not to brag about Ray's Washington career. Let history recount and judge, and let the 15 chapters of his forthcoming book, plug, whose working title is Watching, it's a working title, it isn't necessarily the publisher's title, Watching History Unfold, a front row seat. Let that tell his own story. Tonight, we want to talk about just plain Ray. In Peoria, Ray is just, humble Ray, patiently and earnestly responding to everyone's questions, concerns, and requests. He gives talks at grade schools. He lectures university students at Bradley. He does his daughter's yard work, and he takes loads of abuse from the downtown Lawyers Breakfast Club when he attends those breakfast meetings. Ray is still the local boy, and as we all realize, no man is a prophet in his own hometown. To illustrate this, I tell the story that when Ray's Secret Service used to bring him to Peoria, they let him off at the county line. Ray gets out of the car, takes off his shoes, and he walks home barefooted. From July 24th to August 24th in 2009, Ray sold nearly 700,000 cars and spent nearly $3 billion of our money selling the Cash for Clunkers program. He became the most popular man in America, but still sought refuge in Peoria during the heat and I don't mean the summer heat, to recharge his battery. Although it was hardly a refuge, as Ray was bombarded with questions. Ray, why can't my daughter get her car considered a clunker? Or, Ray, where is the rebate money for my car dealership? Will you please, when you get back to Washington, get me a check? Ray said, sure, to everyone. As soon as I get back, I'll look into it. This is Ray. This is Ray. But Ray's life, his life story is like an Aesop's fable or a fairy tale. An ordinary boy and a regular man reaches extraordinary heights. A zero-sum humility, a perfect integrity, and a pure honesty, and especially a well-honed atavistic DNA cultured from that Fertile Crescent where civilization began, and even up to today, contributes considerably to our nation and our nature's God-blessed civilization and culture. Ray is the quiet advisor to presidents and vice presidents, and more importantly, his advice and counsel is sought by those who advise the presidents. He is admired equally by powerful people and grade school children. He lives the truth of human nature. Greater power demands greater humility. Ray possessed the strict discipline of the absolutes, never and always. Ray's glamour is not in his mind nor in his body, but in the radiant essence of his very being. Tonight, I introduce to you and present to you Ray LaHood, a true modern American statesman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Ed. That was far too generous. I'm grateful for that introduction. Now, when Maha called me and asked me if I would accept the award from Access, of course, she did not tell me that she'd be announcing that Russ was giving $2 million for a scholarship program right before I'm introduced. So that's it, Maha. Don't ask me again. No more awards. Thank you, Russ. What a generous contribution, and generous because it speaks to what we should all be thinking about in terms of who will stand on our shoulders, who will come behind us as we walk out the door of the kind of responsibilities that we have. As we look back, who will we be looking at? And the scholarships will provide the kind of opportunity for the next generation to carry on. I don't know how much time I have, but I'm going to just take a few minutes, first of all, to thank Access. I am humbled by the award, and certainly humbled by the words of my cousin Ed LaHood, who many people in Peoria think is my brother, and I count him as a brother because of the special relationship that Kathy and I have with both he and Emily. They are special people. I also want to thank your governor. Rick Snyder and I, when I came to the job of Secretary of the Department of Transportation, he was coming into the position of governor of Michigan. And he really worked hand in hand and stepped up in a way that was totally unexpected, I think, from President Obama's administration and certainly from the Department of Transportation. And I had never met Rick before he was elected and before I became Secretary of Transportation. But what I found is a person who cared a lot about getting it right for Michigan, getting it right for the citizens of Michigan. And I love telling the story after 3 Republican governors turned down high-speed rail money, one in Ohio, one in Florida, and like Rick Perry, I forgot the other state, but the Republican governor of Michigan decided that the rail line between Detroit and Chicago was important enough that he was willing to take money from President Obama's administration. And it was a great day in Michigan when we announced that. And I give him credit for the kind of leadership to be willing to step up and do that. He and I have worked on the river crossing that needs to be replaced. And he's provided extraordinary leadership on that. And he and I worked a lot on really developing a kind of a transportation system in Michigan that the people of Michigan have come to accept. So, Governor, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for sitting through all of this when I know that you could probably be in a dozen other places around this great state. I'm grateful for your friendship, I'm grateful for your leadership, and I'm grateful for you being here tonight as one of the honorees and having a chance to reminisce about some things that we did together. I want to say a word about your new mayor because he and I have not worked together, but what a tough job. And I'm one of those who loved Mayor Dave Bing because I think he was in the job for the right reasons. He wanted to really turn Detroit around. He wanted to make a difference. And we tried to help him in every way that we possibly could. And I've made, during my time at DOT, 15 trips to Detroit, 15 trips to Michigan, because of the leadership of the governor, because of the leadership of the legislature, because of the leadership of Dave Bing. And Mayor, I'm grateful to you for being willing to step up and really try to turn around a city that has faced so many difficulties. Why anybody would want the job that you have, I don't know. But I know the people of this city are grateful to you for being willing to work with the business community and work with those in Washington to turn Detroit around. Detroit is one of the iconic cities in America. And it deserves the kind of leadership that is now in the mayor's office, somebody who's dedicating to turning the city around. And it can't be done alone. You all need to help him. When he asks for help, you need to help him. And Detroit will become like Chicago, like LA, like Atlanta, like Washington. It'll be a great city again. You saw how the automobile industry turned around. It was because of leadership, because of people weren't crying in their beer. Detroit is not sitting around crying in its beer. You've elected a good leader, support him, get behind him, pitch in, and Detroit will be a great city again in America. I'm convinced of that. Now, I know I've extended my time, and to the other honoree, I'm sorry. You can have as much time as you want. And I know that some of you came here thinking you were going to have dinner. I'm wondering about that myself, but My wife already ate her dessert, so that you have, if you want to eat your dessert, go ahead. She loved, the chocolate cake is delicious. And by the way, she said she was going to share it with me, and I didn't get one morsel of it. Let me just tell you about why I'm so honored to be here, because this highlights the importance of what happens in a community when an organization reaches out and helps friends and neighbors. And that's what Access does. I had a chance to tour the Arab American Museum. And I was here earlier on when it opened years ago. And when I was asked to be helpful as a member of Congress with a little bit of money, I certainly did that. The museum is magnificent, and it really represents what the Arab American community has done in America in every facet, in every profession, to make America the great country that it is. That's what's reflected there. It is the history of what our people have done to make America a great country. And that's what I love about it. My grandparents came from Lebanon in 1895 to Peoria. And the next question is, why Peoria? Peoria is right in the middle of the country, right in the middle of the state of Illinois, 140 miles either way from Chicago and St. Louis. It's called the heart of Illinois, Peoria. In 1895, they came through Ellis Island. And the only reason some of us can think is that the train stopped there. There was no Ford Motor Company. There was no automobile industry. Caterpillar's corporate headquarters is there now, but it didn't exist in 1895. Now look at, these were very hardworking people. And when the train stopped and the conductor said, "That's it, we're headed back east," they got off. And they became restaurateurs. They became tailors. They became grocers, much like many of your grandparents did. And then they wrote back and they said, Peoria is a great place. Today in Peoria, what we have is a community of 5,000 Lebanese. This year, we celebrate the 100th anniversary of a little village called I-2. It's just in the north of the country, above Tripoli. And we celebrate that because we celebrate what you're celebrating here. People who came to this country not with a college degree, not with the idea that they really could contribute that much, although they have. They came with the idea that they could have a better life in America. And what they did is, they had a better life in America. But they also contributed to Peoria's greatness, to America's greatness, and that's what the museum represents. That's what Access represents, that we can take care of friends and neighbors, that we can make a difference. And I am so proud of what my grandparents did, and I'm so proud of being Lebanese, that during the time that I was in Congress for, you can applaud, all the Lebanese applaud. We're proud Lebanese. During the 14 years I was in Congress, I went to Lebanon every year, without exception. I met members of parliament, every president, every prime minister. We have friends there now. And I also became a very loud voice for Lebanon and Washington, with a very few number of Lebanese American congressmen. Lebanon needs a loud voice in Washington. Lebanese, for those of you who haven't been to Lebanon, you're missing a great place. It's the hospitality capital of the world. The people there are wonderful, and they get a bad rap. You know that Lebanon has accepted over 1 million refugees from Syria. What a great country! So let me wrap up with this. Thank you, Access, for what you do in Michigan, for what you do in communities all over. Thank you to those who are on the staff, who are on the board, who are the volunteers, who contribute to the scholarship program and many other things. This is what makes this part of the world a great place to live. This is why Detroit will come back. This is why Michigan will come back. This is why the automobile industry came back, because of the people who work hard and believe in friends and neighbors. And let me leave you with this. My grandparents, my parents, my father never graduated from high school, but he knew the value of education, and he knew that his children should get an education. But what my grandparents and your grandparents and my parents and your parents left with us were three principal values. And for you young people, this is not complicated. Work hard, number one. Every job is important. I don't care what job it is. Every job is important. Work hard. Play by the rules. Do what's right. Make sure that you're doing what's right. Play by the rules. And the last and most important one is faith in God. Can you believe that our grandparents could have come to America and been as successful as they are and allowed us to stand on their shoulders if they didn't have faith in God, if they hadn't worked hard, if they hadn't played by the rules? One of the proudest things that I have been able to say is that I'm the only Lebanese American, Arab American to serve in President Obama's cabinet. I am proud of that because I think I represent a point of view in Washington. And I can tell you this, as I left DOT and looked back, I saw people that I helped mentor. As you leave the work that you do at Access, you will look back because of the scholarship program, the work that goes on, helping friends and neighbors, people that will carry on. That's what our grandparents taught us. That's what our parents taught us. That's what has made America a great country. That's what has made Michigan a great state. I am honored and humbled to accept your award tonight. I feel blessed to be a Lebanese American, recognized for what we've been able to do to highlight Lebanon, to highlight what our grandparents and our parents have done to make America a great country. Thank you and God bless.